Now we go back to Candyland. We go back to the Lollipop Guild. We go back to AEW for their Dynamite Collision doubleheader. Because it's the same program now. One's on Wednesday, one's on Saturday, but they both got the same people and they do the same shit. And the experiment that was actually having a good pro wrestling program on Saturday nights for people to watch is apparently officially over the week after they fired their biggest star. Because now it's the same kind of caca you see on Wednesday. So briefly moving through, I'm going to say one thing before I go through the Wednesday night's program for September 6th. Yes, we're late, and that's why I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. There was the probably best segment of the week and then everything else. But I don't know what the ratings were, and I want you to tell me at the end. I have no idea. I've somehow managed to avoid anybody saying what they were, but I've got to imagine that erosion set in again at some point over the course of this 2 hours. The first thing you saw, they were in Indianapolis. I don't know what the Hoosier State has done to AEW to deserve this program, but they sent pockets out. That's the first thing you saw. People tuning into the pro when they know the audience is going to be the biggest. And the first thing you see is that. And he came to the ring and did a promo. A live interview with the fucking mascot, with the segment that has the biggest audience that they know ahead of time. And they're apparently going to test the theory of how quick can we run people off. So obviously I fast forwarded through that because there could be nothing of any worth uttered by this waste of human flesh. But then we're followed by here come Moxley and Claudio, and the people get to sing Wild Thing. But the only thing that they could do to further run people off is an anthrax scare, right? And I said, oh, wait, here comes A.R. Fox. So the match after the Pockets promo was Plumber Moxley against A.R. Fox. And that took quite a while. And finally, Moxley won with the double arm suplex that he does, where he puts you down soft if you're a Japanese legend, and he drops you on your head if you're a job guy or whatever. And then Darby comes out to the ring to help up A.R. Fox because all is forgiven there. But Christian and Dino were out in the parking lot talking to Nick Wayne, and Christian saying, I could mentor you and you wouldn't have to put up with that, where he's, so again, more strife. Who's on whose side here? Did I miss anything yet in this program?
Not really. I guess one of my big thoughts was beyond Orange Cassidy, who they did it with for a while and obviously did a promo here. We're seeing a lot of Moxley wrestling on TV, like nonstop.
I predict right now, this Halloween, Tony's going to be dressed up like a plumber. Watch and see. Anyway, then they followed that.
Thanks, guys.
Either that or I'll unstop your drains.
I was afraid for my life. I've never been this scared in 30 years of attending wrestling shows. I've never been this frightened.
He's never been that close to a monkey wrench before. For the TBS title, Chris Statlander versus Emi Sakura.
Yeah.
And again, I would watch Chris Statlander, but here comes this satchel-assed midget dressed like Queen Elizabeth. She's dropped Freddie Mercury. Now, Lawler never went to this trouble. The crown and the robe had fur all over it and a scepter. What is the goddamn deal with this chick? So, Pockets live interview. The Plumber versus A.R. Fox. There's 15 minutes. Statlander versus Emi Sakura. She won with a tombstone. Then Roderick Strong. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I actually thought Statlander versus Sakura wasn't terrible.
Well,
I watched it, though.
Good for you.
I watched it.
Well,
it was a different Emi Sakura. She had more fire.
Yeah, she didn't have a mustache.
She didn't have a mustache, and she had more fire to her.
She was screaming like a banshee.
I mean, that's just, she's like the female Iron Mike Sharp.
So in the back after that match, they did a promo with Roderick Strong. And he was sitting flanked by Bennett and Taven in a weird position. And he was doing a promo. They were showing childhood pictures of him, and he was talking about his mother on drugs and his alcoholic father.
Well, that's the thing. This is the first time we've seen these series of vignettes, and the first question asked was, tell us about your mom and dad.
Yes. How is this all going to tie together? Is this going to be one of those Lacey Evans deals? Roddy.
Yes, Roddy's going to get pregnant with Ric Flair's baby.
There you go. Could be next, because Roddy is the disgruntled former friend of Adam Cole who's mad at Adam because Adam has become friends with MJF. But Roddy is now hanging out with these heels and acting like a lunatic. So naturally, that's meant to make you think that he's a heel, but his mother was on drugs and his father was an alcoholic. I don't know where that came from, and why would that make people mad at you? And the position that Bennett and Taven are sitting in, and the way that they shake their head, like they did another one of these on the Saturday night on Collision, and it looks so stagey and so, it's like they're trying to be funny by being so somber. Does that make any sense?
I guess
they're being funny by having that straight of a face and that somber of an attitude.
It's faux seriousness, and of course that's what a lot of this
seriousness
is. But you can tell that's what it is. Taven, there's something so intriguing, gives off like the weirdest creepy vibe. Especially when he doesn't talk. But I mean, Roddy did great here. The catch with all of this stuff so far has been that this is the best character work of Roddy Strong's entire career. But then he's talking about this.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I hate to say I thought this, but he's talking about how awful his, growing up was. Every picture they showed looked like it was a party. Like, here's me and my dad dressed like Elvis. Like, no, doesn't look that bad. It looks like you guys were entertaining the troops or something there. I don't know what was happening. Roddy's doing really good with this. I don't know what the Taven Bennett angle is. Are they counselors? Are they just playing the role of supportive friends?
Supportive friends. And after all, what is an athlete without his supporter?
What do you think of Roddy wearing the glasses?
I don't know how this is all going to tie together to come out in any logical or sensical way. So the glasses may be really good or really bad. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I like that he takes the neck brace off and wrestles and then puts it back on. That's very heelish. But it's not heelish to talk about your underprivileged upbringing that you escaped from. I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
I think there should be a moratorium on no more conversations about the feelings of heels.
There you go. Because heels don't have feelings to begin with. They do not have normal human emotions. They are remorseless, and they have no compassion or empathy. But nevertheless, speaking of remorseless or no compassion or empathy, Chris Jericho came to the ring with Sammy Guevara against the team of Ozzy Oldham, and they put Don Fallis on color. And again, whose side are we supposed to be on? Jericho switched babyface, but now he's in an obnoxious heel manner wanted to reunite the sex gods with Sammy, who wasn't having a lot of his bullshit, but they're against heels. And Don Fallis, the heel manager, turned on Jericho. Mark Davis of the Ozzy Oldham team visually looks fucking rotten. 45 years old, doughy and balding. And Fletcher looks like his nephew that ought to be at a skateboard park until sundown when the curfew kicks in.
He looks like the Australian Nick Wayne, and the other one looks like if Dax and Cash had a baby.
I don't even know. I think if Cash was the father and Dax was the mother, where maybe you would get Cash's hair, I think you'd be okay there.
I think that's what he kind of has. He has Cash's little haircut, but then like all of a sudden you get towards the front, the facial hair comes in, the baldness.
Anyway, Jericho beat Fletcher with the Judas elbow after accidentally knocking Sammy off the apron, but Jericho and Sammy shoved each other back and forth, and Sammy walked out on him. But it was truthfully an accident, the way it was presented, so now Sammy's being the prick, and Jericho is the babyface, even though for all the other things I just said.
Another feud over friendship.
Who are we supposed to cheer for here? Do we want Sammy to stab Jericho in the back and become a babyface, or become a heel, or become the opposite of whatever he is now? Or do we want Jericho to be a heel and just not be friends with Don Fallis, who's the other fucking heel fella?
Right. I think Aussie Open have been established as a heel tag team, even though they get cheered by smart fans sometimes. And Jericho's against Callis. Callis is clearly a heel, so you could argue that Jericho's been the babyface since Callis. How did it go? Callis turned on Jericho after Jericho accepted joining his faction.
Yes, so Jericho became a babyface because the heels wouldn't take him.
And they had a painting made up ready to go. And then with Sammy, again, because Jericho is kind of now a vulnerable Chris Jericho, Sammy has been kind of cheered because he's always cheered until he talks about, like, himself.
Yeah.
And then people start booing him.
Or his wife.
So they're the baby faces here, at least towards the start of it.
But then also, Jericho has run off all of the other appreciators besides Sammy because he was such a prick to them and so self-centered that they told him to go kick rocks and all walked out on him.
Wouldn't it be great if they reform as the Sammy Appreciation Society?
The Sasses. It doesn't have the same ring.
Then it could be a turn. It was really the Sammy Davis Jr. Appreciation Society.
Well,
we're in the future.
Yeah. I didn't know whether that was going to be the extent of it, and I was going to have to explain to the people that we've time traveled again. And of course, you have made your effects there from your phaser neutron board. Now we're in the future. We had to take a break because a plumber called, and also you had to go get. You've been inoculated now against tetanus, diphtheria, whooping cough, and scarlet fever. So you got that going for you. Don't try to blame your drowsiness on the rest of the program on that shot. You know as good as well as I do that your drowsiness is coming from the boringness of this program.
I'm ready for all kinds of action.
Boy, that's what she said. That's a line from The Office. That's not being so. Don't report me.
Oh, me or the audience?
Anybody out there? I don't know what's going on anymore. You know, that's what we were just saying moments ago in the past, which actually moments ago was the past. So I'm correct. Moments ago in the past, we were talking about these insane wrestling angles and how we can't figure them out. And can somebody explain to who in the fuck should we trust? Who can we believe in? Who can we worship with our greedy little palms outstretched going, please, please save us, my hero? Who? We don't understand this. It's the same. Nobody can sell these angles because you can't understand them. And for heaven's sake, if you can't sell something, then it ain't no good to nobody because it's just going to sit there on the shelf. I don't care. Brian, if you make the absolute best, let's say, for example, you're going to design, because of all the goozling going on in the wrestling business these days, you're going to design a brand new goozle guard for pro wrestlers to wear around their neck in the locker room, right?
Yeah.
So that way they can mouth off and run their pie holes all they want. And if somebody tries to goozle them, well, they're wearing a guard. So they're goozle proof.
Well, the one I've designed is if someone goes for your throat, it automatically tases you. It's the Harley Race.
Well, there you go. And they could have different models. You could have the Harley Race. You could have the Gary Hart, where if they grab the goozle guard, a blade would come out instantly and stab them through the hand.
You could have the Shawn Michaels where you get goozled and all of a sudden you have a mirror image of yourself next to yourself.
Well, either that or suddenly you could get goozled and your feet would be about 6 inches off the ground. But nevertheless, if you can't sell these products, folks, then it's a waste of a brilliant idea. And if you don't have a platform, everybody can't have a bunch of feather bottoms like I do. So if you don't have a platform, well, you're just SOL. As Mama Cornette used to say, you're up shit creek without a paddle. And that's where the folks at Shopify come in. Because once again, say you wanted to sell that Goozle Guard, but you don't know where to get started to get it out to the masses. That's why you go to Shopify. Did I mention Shopify? See? They asked for that in parentheses.
You have a register over there?
Well, yes, I'm making money as we speak. Ah, shit.
In the glass-breaking business.
Watch out for Mr. Merkel, the blind man. But anyway, get your business a game-changing pickup by choosing the commerce platform with the internet's best converting checkout. It converts anything. You can S&H green stamps, it'll take them, it'll convert it into currency.
I don't think that's what that means.
Well, whatever it means, they do it. Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide, whether you're a garbage entrepreneur or a garage entrepreneur. I'm sorry. Garbage, the type is small. A garage entrepreneur, let's say you're selling garages, or you're IPO ready, or like Cousin Rob, maybe you're not ready for an IPO. Shopify is the only tool that you need to start, run, and grow your business without the struggle. You don't want to struggle, folks. You don't want a heaviness on your chest every morning when you wake up in the bed. And the first thing when you open your eyes, you're worrying about your business and it's a heaviness on you and you go, hi, heaviness. You don't want that. Because Shopify puts you in control of every sales channel, every tributary, every stream. Whether you're selling satin sheets or seashells on the seashore, they've got an in-person POS system. As a matter of fact, these people at Shopify are dedicated. They have an in-person system where if you order something through their platform, they will have somebody go to your house in person and check out and make sure you're not a piece of shit before they give you the in-person POS system.
That's a wonderful idea, but that is not what they offer. And you have no fears or no concerns or you don't have to expect people from Shopify showing up at your home.
Well, if you're a piece of shit, so when you ought to be worried, nobody else should be worried.
They avoid the piece of shit. Once
they've cleared you, you've got to be vetted to go through this process. There's money changing hands.
What kind of vetting process is this?
To make sure you're not a piece of shit.
No, I got that, but what would this vetting
deadbeat that doesn't pay their bills? What the fuck? These people at Shopify, they're protecting your business.
What does the vetting process consist of is my question.
They come there and they make sure that you're not rude, crude, vulgar, or some other kind of piece of shit that's not going to pay up. And then they've got an all-in-one e-commerce platform. That's where everything goes into one. So you're covered. And what? I'm telling you, they've got it. And once you've reached your audience, Shopify, what are you laughing at? Has the internet's best converting checkout. There it comes up again.
Yes, it does.
I'm telling you, you can bring in beans from the garden. They will weigh them and figure out the current going rate.
It's not how it works.
And that way, everybody.
That's not how it works. That's not how the converting process works.
Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the United States. And if they didn't have to come check on you individually, they could probably have time to do more.
They don't check on anyone individually. Again, you don't have to worry about anyone showing up to check on you and measure if you're a piece of shit or not.
Well, they're a global force powering millions of entrepreneurs of every size across over 170 countries. So don't get on their bad side because they got a lot of people.
A global force? What are they, Jeff Jarrett?
They're a global force Shopify platform. A global force platform, GFP.
Do they sell bullshit gold like Jeff Jarrett?
No, they have a six-sided platform. It's a six-sided platform where you get all six sides of their platform to stand on, and hawk your merchandise.
Jeff had a 6-sided ring. You see, it all still ties together.
It's a global force. And they have award-winning help there to support your success every step of the way over at Shopify. So let's say you call up Shopify and you say, help. They got somebody to do that for you.
For it to be award-winning help, what kind of awards do they give out every year at the annual?
They saved a baby from a burning building. There was that. And then they got the Good Community Service Award for cleaning up that daggum messy park area and building things that the kids could play on. They have help for a lot of people.
The winner of Most Courteous Hang-Up is Judy.
Yes, and when these people blow you off, they do it in a courteous and very sympathetic manner. They don't just say fuck you and hang up on you. They say, I'm sorry, I don't speak English, and hang up, so you can't be mad. But I'll tell you what, right now you can sign up for a $1 a month trial period, $1 a month to trial this for a period. At shopify.com/JCE. Now, the JCE is in lowercase, apparently, because they have all lowercase following that in capital letters, which kind of looks odd when you say all lowercase, but it's capital letters. It almost threw me off. But a $1 a month trial period at shopify.com/JCE, all lowercase.
All lowercase.
And you can take your business to the next level today. All you got to do is go to shopify.com/JCE for the $1 a month trial period. I'm looking. I don't know what that period is. So get in and get out while you can. Open up one of these fly-by-night operations, and it won't cost you anything. You'll be in and out in 30 days.
Nope. Shopify only deals with reputable businesses, and they help reputable businesses grow their reputable revenue streams, and you have nothing to worry about. And if you are a piece of shit or a scumbag or a dirty businessman, stay away from Shopify, and they're going to stay away from you, and they're going to help all the good listeners out there. What's the promo code, Jim?
That is JCE, all lowercase. Yeah, but stay away if you're some kind of crook from Wyoming or somewhere, or Bolivia.
All right, well, we are once again in the future, and let's now, I guess we have to go back.
on with the past.
Speaking of all lowercase, let's go back to AEW.
I don't know. Murder was the case with AEW. They killed the business. No, actually, we are in the process of still talking about Dynamite from last Wednesday. And if brains were dynamite, I don't believe they could blow their nose. But the one entertaining, enterprising, business-minded segment of the program came up next, involving, imagine this, MJF and Samoa Joe. Who could have ever thunk it? And MJF comes out to the ring for his promo, and he plays the people like a fiddle. And now that whatever this babyface turn has become, he's embracing that, but he's got him in the palm of his hand. Because at least they know they're going to hear something, not just a bunch of indie-rific twits droning on about their goddamn high school feelings. And he's going to defend the AEW title on September 20th at Grand Slam. I don't know that he got out the opponent when suddenly Samoa Joe's music played. And, again, to see these two guys together, it's like when MJF was doing the promos back and forth with Adam Cole. They're great promos, but you're seeing Adam Cole standing there in his unfortunate state at this point. Whereas when you're seeing Samoa Joe standing there, who looks like he can fucking eat you for lunch and talks like it as well. It's one of the amazing and rare examples today of a guy who talks like he looks, and it's both positive. There are a lot of people that talk like they look, and it's both negative. So they do and he said, what's the problem, kid? And the fans are already chanting, even though they love MJF, they've already picked a Joe's gonna kill you. Because they like that's cool. And they do their snide remarks back and forth. MJF is not happy that Samoa Joe called him kid. And so he's doing his performance there. It's Pillsbury Joe Boy, Samoa Joe. And Joe is, they didn't let this go so long like they will later on in the program when we talk about Hangnail Page's segment, where somebody is just being told the fuck off and just standing there with their dick in their hand endlessly and taking it. And there's, at least a couple of instances where you would think, my God, is this guy ever just going to punch this motherfucker? They went back and forth and kept it fresh, is what I'm trying to say, where neither one had to degenerate into violence before its time. And Joe came back being somewhat of a smart ass, but it fits too, because he said, I can do this shit. Your bris was postponed because the rabbi had nothing to work with. And see, because I saw the Seinfeld episode, I got that. But I wouldn't have until whenever that fucking program aired. But finally, MJF, gets pissed off the third time or so that Joe calls him kid and says, hey, there's a whole tournament if you want, me, the champ. And then the fans have immediately turned around, fuck you, Joe. Fuck you, Joe. Fickle bastards. And Joe's response, they're saying, fuck you, Joe. Fuck you, Joe. And Joe said, you sound like your mother's. Now, I'll admit it's a quick comeback, but grammatically it's incorrect unless they're watching. Wait a minute, how would that work? Their mother would have to be fucking Joe, or how would that work in the past tense, or who's the you in that?
In the past week, we got that, and then we got Sami Zayn saying, I'm glad you opened your ass.
Yeah.
What a week.
But I mean, it would be fuck her, Joe, right? If you sound like your mother, or fuck me, Joe.
Fuck me, Joe, if it was the mother, I would think.
Well then fuck you, Joe, would only be if you were fucking Joe.
Well, unless the mom, unless it's like there's a deeper situation where Joe and the mom have a relationship and she's mad at Joe.
God damn it. I think I read this as a Penthouse letter one time back when that was a thing.
You wrote it or you read it?
I read it, I said.
I misheard you, sorry.
And that now people think Reddit is online rather than a book. Nevertheless, but here MJF did the story time again about when he got the WWF tryout when he was 19 and he got pulled aside by William Regal. He had a reference back to, and Regal's name got booze. A tough crowd, I'll tell you. I don't want to say this place is rough, but the muggers don't shoot you. They insert the bullets manually. And so then MJF basically made the point that he was a security guard that night when he got his tryout. Samoa Joe was apparently a star in the bigger company and shoved him into a brick wall because he could get away with it. Well, that'd kind of be a prickish thing to do if we didn't see people disemboweled by fucking gasoline-powered chainsaws on this program on a weekly basis. But anyway, MJF finally fires up and says, so stay out of my way or I'm going to kill you. And then Joe says, that was a point beautifully made. He didn't think that MJF was a kid, but a little bitch. And MJF slaps Joe, and Joe says he won't take the bait. He's going to win the tournament. And then he took the bait and attacked him, hit him with a ball shot.
Like a good heel. He lied.
There you go. And he took the belt, but MJF came back with a ball shot like a good babyface that's just switched from being a heel and got on Joe, and they go back and forth. And then here comes Adam Cole. And as Joe is bailing out, kind of laughing, the doctors check on MJF because he's selling the bad neck and etc. And, Joe's insulting him, from afar. And then, of course, he passes Roderick Strong and Taven and Bennett on the way out. That we're doing ships passing in the night on both programs now. But now I'm interested again, MJF and fucking Samoa Joe. And it's not going to be a clash of styles with two big guys doing, the slapping the meat or pounding the meat or slipping the meat to somebody, whatever the fucking deal was the other day. It's a big fucking burly, impressive, intimidating heel against now a smart, sassy, quick, athletic,
Sassy?
sassy, young baby face that we can get behind in this, struggle against this dragon that he needs to slay or whatever the fuck. So, yes, what did you think?
Man, I was so down on AEW coming into this show, and there was not too much on the show up to this point that made me change that thought until this. And this was my favorite MJF thing in a while. Joe was great. And this is the perfect opponent for MJF. It's fresh. It works perfect with the dynamic of MJF being the babyface. I hope this gets a nice little run and it's not just one match or something.
Well, and the good thing is, looking back...
And they can promo back and forth, and most guys in that company can't do that. They could do it well, yes. They could do it on the fly.
And looking back, we've talked about from the time that Joe arrived, we said, where's Joe? We can't see Joe, but at least we saw so little. They didn't have a chance to really bury him with bad booking before he's got to this point. They hid him and they put him in some stupid things on occasion, but it wasn't like you're just sick and tired of seeing him before he gets to something big, right? So good. We will see what happens from there in this angle. But from there on this program, things are taking a precipitous downhill turn.
Hey, now with CM Punk gone, and you could argue that it wouldn't have changed this discussion either way, it's clear that MJF's the biggest and the best star in that company right now, right? I mean, he's the only one that can he's the best heel and the best babyface they have.
Well, and remember we talked about that. It wasn't necessarily that with Punk and MJF, Punk was definitely the biggest name, just courtesy of his tenure and seniority, but MJF was still maybe the biggest star. And they could coexist until we'll never get that now. Newman. The fucking, these fucking morons.
Let's focus on the positive. MJF.
But just to resolve the lineage of their own championship. Instead, they'd rather have Jungle Jim and his chimpanzee Bonzo fucking hanging around.
Legally, I wonder, what can Punk do? Can he take that belt? I mean, he's not going to go work indies or anything. But can he just show up anywhere with that belt? He owns it, right? They gave it to him. He won it. Technically, it's their intellectual property on the belt, so I guess that would hold it up.
The real world title belt controversy with Flair and Heenan and Vince and etc. establish intellectual property if you have the... But again...
But he could just walk out there with the bag. He doesn't have to show the belt.
The bag, but also... I wonder, and maybe this is a question for Stephen P. New, did they ever fine-tune it down to the cob to the point where you couldn't advertise yourself on the wrestling program with the other company's title belt and call it that or whatever, but if a particular replica belts are seen all over the place, if a particular belt is your property and you just happen to wear it and it's not mentioned... I don't know if they got that far, but anyway, nevertheless.
It's an interesting point. If he had if CM Punk showed a front row at Monday Night Raw with a replica AEW championship with an X painted over it, next to a fan with a replica WWE championship and another championship
with a Y painted over it,
could they do anything about that?
Again, one food for thought. But then we come back where, boy, they're in a food barren desert for thought over here because the tournament match that they had for Roderick Strong to win in advance was against Trent with Muffin Top Taylor in his corner. So I'm sorry, Roderick Strong's work is brilliant, but I cannot stomach the Puddin' Gang. Roddy won that contest, moves on in the tournament. Do you have any comments about Trent's presentation?
I agree with you. Trent and Chuck are the Bushwhackers in 95. They're still there. The kids will still pop and want to get licked on the head by them, but most fans don't want to see them anymore.
And many fans didn't want to see them to begin with.
Yeah, that's right.
And Renee Moxley Good was in the back with Tony Storm, and I don't know what in the world she's saying or talking about, but it's great. She's lost her mind. And she's some raving, terribly British proper lunatic. And whatever she's doing, at least it's different.
Do you think any other women in the business should look at this as a thing they could do to step out and be seen as different? Like, should, Bailey maybe adopt a Margaret Dumont kind of accent?
Well, that is a question. Maybe either, but then Bailey would have to gain a ton of weight for Margaret Dumont.
Oh, she was a tall woman. She wasn't a fat woman.
No, she was a voluptuous, a matronly, a Rubenesque, statuesque woman.
She's so serious in every movie. Why the fuck did she put up with Groucho?
Because that's why they kept hiring her, because she didn't get it. She never got any of it and didn't understand why it was funny, but that was why she was perfect for the part, and she was trying to play it straight because she was a stage actress. And they didn't want to smarten her up because it would have killed her gimmick. Speaking of killing gimmicks, I got to get to this is the thing. Here comes Tony Schiavone's in the ring, and here comes Hangnail Page, and they're still letting this jabroni speak. And apparently he won the Jobber Battle Royal that Tony had on All In or All Out or
in Chicago,
All Over, wherever it was.
Think about that. They had him win the Charity Battle Royal on the pre-show in Chicago. Think they're trying to send a message?
Well, and he gave the Chicago Education Fund the $50,000. I assume that's legitimate because they wouldn't say they gave it to charity, but obviously he didn't actually win it. Tony just gave it to charity, and he won the Battle Royal. But with Page, his hair bun thing on his head looks ridiculous. Why would you do that on purpose and come out looking like this slovenly character out on the alleyway beside a convenience store in a bad part of town with a cardboard sign that says, "We'll allow you to grope me for food"? I don't know. Just stop me. I'm painting a picture in my head of what this fucking guy looks like. Why is he on national TV like that?
I don't get anything with Adam Page, really, because it's still, there's been no character evolution since the days of the sad drunk. He's still like this sad, running away from things. Like, whatever this is. Swerve was the babyface in this to me. He was telling the truth.
Well, yeah, that's what I referenced earlier. If you're listening to the entire podcast in its entirety, and how else would you do something entirely, is he talks for a minute, and then here comes Swerve and Prince Nana. And of course, they kicked Tony Schiavone out of the ring like a flunky. Can you imagine somebody telling Jim Ross on 1999 Raw, "Yeah, hey, JR, take a hike. You're done."
Only Vince. And Triple H.
Well, yes. And Swerve basically goes into a lot of detail and backstory about how Page was a big deal, but now he's on the pre-show. He's not selling merchandise. He's not in any big matches. And he's doing a good promo, but he's burying Nimrod there. Page is just standing there taking this, and it took a while. There was a lot of history gone over and a lot of detail. And Page is just staring at him. And when he told Page, "I'll walk you like a dog," he just staring at him. And and finally his response was, "If you want a match, go back there and talk to somebody, or with me, go back there and talk to somebody and get one." And he's starting to walk out. And I'm like, what the fuck you been... He's a real life Ken doll now. He has had his genitals completely shaved to a flat surface verbally by this guy. And so, "Well, if you want a match, go get one," and walks away from him. And then their brilliant idea, to show his even temperament. You always want that in a redneck cowboy babyface. Then his Swerve goes too far. God damn it, you've gone too far now. He said something that wasn't particularly inflammatory, and nothing,
He mentioned his wife and kids. To me, that's inflammatory.
No, but
about things that would get a babyface going.
No, but yes, you would have. "Hey, I'll fuck your wife and adopt your kids." That might, but it was something innocuous. He just mentioned your wife and "Yeah, well, go back to your wife and kids." That's not even detrimental or something like, you see what I'm saying? It wasn't in the lexicon of wrestling insults through the years. This was not a goddamn barn burner that should have set this fucking guy's head on fire. But now, after he's listened to this 5-minute dissertation about how he needs to change everything in his life and adjust his fucking behavior 380 degrees to the opposite, just that, he goes, limp on back to your wife and kids. He turns around and storms into the ring, but he still doesn't punch the guy. He's yelling at him. And as he's yelling at him, Brian Cage, like a heel would do, comes from behind and just wallops him and hits him with a couple big moves, because he can't just beat a guy up. He has to pick him up and give him wrestling moves. But that was, as Swerve's laughing, that was a long segment, and my God, is Page just dishwater? Help me, help me.
There is no help. Swerve was good. You see, that's the thing. Swerve has something.
That was the Swerve about it.
That Swerve was good?
Yeah.
Well, he's been, you know what? He's a guy that the booking kind of sucks, but he's good and people react to him, but then the booking kind of has to match that at some point. What do you think about him and Adam Page?
I try not to think about him and Adam Page. I don't want to see Adam Page. He is, you know, that he's one of these miserable panties in a bunch up around his little uterus, fucking whiny, complainy, meh. And
well, yeah.
There's nothing about him as a wrestling personality that he does the nice thing that he never misses, that flip over the rope and landing on his feet. But otherwise than that, and boy, when he stands up there on the top rope and just blindly leaps off and flips backwards off into the fucking crowd, assuming that the motherfucker that was there 30 or 45 seconds ago is still right where he left him, that's wow. But he's wishy-washy on promos, and I don't believe he was the world champion. Nobody believed him. There. Imagine how much fucking territory that takes in.
All right.
What do you think about Page?
I think the AEW hardcore, like, Young Bucks fan will love him. And anyone who watches this show just sees him as a weak babyface that's constantly in the top mix for some reason.
Because he got the right friends. I know you don't like Omega at all, and I'm not saying you have to, but he's the only one out of all of them that's really a star in my eyes. You think that's what's given him all those injuries that he's had fixed over the last year or two, is from carrying all these other fuckers on his back?
I think that's why they said they were going to negotiate with WWE, all four. Like, it had to be the whole group. Yeah, whatever Kenny does, we're going to do. Yeah, you have no choice. Everyone turns off the show every time you guys are on.
Hey, you know, they're still thinking back. That one time, Larry, Moe, and Curly broke away from Ted Healy, and their careers took off rather than the other way around. But that's because Ted Healy was an alcoholic. So if Kenny doesn't have any problems with any substances, then everything should be okay.
Also, the Stooges knew how to work.
That's true. Well, speaking of not knowing how to work, I don't know what the purpose of what they did at the end of this program is, or was, or could be. And maybe you made it to the end. But another tournament match is Darby Allin versus Nick Wayne. And I was, wait, what is the purpose of this? Two baby faces, and the whole thing is the friends, the fucking goddamn protege. And why would Nick Wayne, when they just signed him at the age of 18 2 months ago, be in this tournament to goddamn begin with? When has he won a match yet? And they booked this specifically for these two guys so they could do their fucking gymnastics. And visually, it made the program look like two children with a total weight of 285 pounds doing fucking cheerleading routines, but violently. The aggressive parkour, whatever the fuck. And then they started doing the you hit me and I'll hit you with the forearms, but they're standing there. Neither one of them weighs 170 pounds. And then Darby, in the middle of the match, got the microphone. This was so indie. He got the microphone and told old Nick, you hit like an 18-year-old kid. You can hit me harder than that. And put his hands behind his back and stuck his chin out so that Nick could hit him hard in a supposed fucking fight, match, contest, whatever. And then Nick Wayne super kicks him. So I guess he's turning heel on his friend Darby. If you put your hands behind your back and told your protege, Brian, to fucking hit you in the face with his fist harder, and he super kicked you instead, would you ever forgive him?
No.
So I didn't.
But Darby's very forgiving. That's been established.
I didn't forgive any of these people because when I saw that spot, I said, I quit. This show's been long enough. And I turned it off. I don't know what happened. I don't know who won. I don't know who ran out because somebody had to. Do you remember, or does anybody even care?
Well, Darby won the match, and him and Nick Wayne are cool once again. And why
After the super kick?
Again, why another tournament? It's just nonstop tournaments. There's always an eliminator tournament for this, or just a regular eliminator match, and it's too much.
Did anybody run in?
I don't remember. Maybe Christian and Luchasaurus got involved. I don't remember.
Oh, good Lord.
I was you were, I was, and I think a lot of the viewers probably by the end of this show were just like, there's got to be something else to do.
Well, what did the viewers think of this program? Because as I said earlier, I still don't know what the fucking ratings were, but I assumed they had to be abysmal. Can you help me out on this?
Yeah, last week's AEW Dynamite ratings from TBS.
And this was for September whatever the fuck?
September whatever the fuck, known as September 6th in the calendar, the Gregorian calendar.
Those people again?
September 6th. AEW Dynamite was watched by 887,000 viewers on average.
Good Lord. I'll tell you what, now whatever season that was conflicting with them is over. They're keeping this audience at least on average 800 and something thousand every week. I don't see how with these fucking programs, but go ahead.
Well, quarter one, and these were compiled by WrestleNomics, 8 to 8:15 p.m., Orange Cassidy's live promo, and Jon Moxley versus AR Fox through an ad break, 982,000 viewers.
Good. Okay, I see what helped the averages. That's a significantly larger lead-in than they've been getting lately, isn't it?
I think that
they haven't been close to 1 million in a while.
No, that's the largest number in a while, and I'm looking at the trend line here that WrestleNomics has, and it's significantly above that. But quarter two, 8:15, 8:30 p.m., the finish of Moxley versus AR Fox, the post-match with Darby Allin, Nick Wayne, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and an ad break. Chris Statlander versus Emi Sakura.
Oh, good Lord.
And Roderick Strong and the Kingdom's therapy video. 889,000 viewers.
Jesus, okay. Almost 100,000, 93,000 said. Pfft.
So a Silverdome full of fans turned off the show. Quarter three, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. Aussie Open versus Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara with picture-in-picture ads and the post-match angle. 938,000 viewers.
Okay, now do you think...
And the high point in the key demo, 440,000.
Do you think even their fans now are starting to just pick and choose? Like, let me check back every 15 minutes or whatever? That's an awful big fluctuation for those numbers.
I think there are fans who wait for an MJF segment. And I think the ratings have shown that there are fans who kind of are in and out. And then once MJF is doing an angle or a promo against someone, they stay for a while. and then they get driven away. We've seen that, though, in the ratings multiple times.
Quarter four,
8:45 to 9 p.m., Ricky Stark's backstage promo, an ad break, Don Callis' backstage promo, and the beginning of the MJF Samoa Joe live promo, 912,000 viewers.
All righty, so that is the end of the first hour, and MJF's just got in the ring. Do we go up or do we go down?
Well, the big 9 o'clock hour, quarter five, 9 to 9:15 p.m., the MJF Samoa Joe live promo and confrontation, an angle with Adam Cole running out, and an ad break, 949,000 viewers.
Whoa, so they popped up another 37,000, and that is the second highest quarter so far of the show next to the start.
That's right. Quarter six, 9:15 to 9:30 p.m., Roderick Strong versus Trent Beretta with picture-in-picture ads. The post-match with the Kingdom. Tony Storm's backstage promo and an ad break. 845,000 viewers.
Ouch. Okay, and then, there you go. 104,000 people said, we've seen MJF. Time to go.
Quarter seven, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. The Adam Page Swerve Strickland live promo and confrontation with the Mogul Embassy running out.
You'd have to have been a hardy soul to fucking sit through that whole thing.
Hardy souls over a catering. 858,000 viewers.
Son of a gun. Apparently there was 13,000 extra hardy souls. Well, then this does not bode tremendously well for the final 15 minutes of the program as I'm looking at this average.
And there's also a 2-minute overrun. I'll give you that separately. But here we go, 9:45 to 10 p.m., quarter eight. Darby Allin versus Nick Wayne with picture-in-picture ads twice. 730,000 viewers.
Ew.
With an overrun of 8:35 for 2 minutes, so I don't know how much that can really be looked at.
So that's 128,000. That's one of the bigger one-quarter drops. You had to know, because why would anybody want to see that, even if they like those guys? If they like them, why do they want to see them fight each other? And then it was the shits. But so they were down 252,000 from the start of the program, and I think that may be a new record percentage-wise, because that's, 26, 27% of the initial audience was not there at the end.
I would think if you were going to do the little buddy angle, usually it means you introduce the character on TV, people start to get to know them, they associate that person with the star they're aligned with because they've been there a while, they have fans.
Right.
Start to maybe do some tag matches. Then he finally gets the big singles opportunity against someone, and he gets a win. Not you do all that, and he gets his big singles opportunity against his buddy, acts like a dick in the match, and then all is forgiven, and they move on as a team. Like, why do that? Like, there's so many weird, like, Dax Harwood, they keep putting him in these singles matches, and he loses, and you know he's going to lose. He's won one singles match. It was against Cash Wheeler. Like, it's just the weirdest booking decisions when it comes to what to do with people that are a team or friends or aligned with each other. Nick Wayne, despite what AEW thinks internally or the most hardcore fans think, he's not yet established. You're just doing that. So when you put him in that spot, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure.
But you know what? Right now, I'm thinking Shad Khan has to be seeing these numbers and hearing about these accusations and firings and goozlings being thrown about and bandied about and thinking, I need a drink.
You talking about the Jaguars or AEW?
Well, either one. Whether it's the football or the wrestling, something is going to drive him to drink. Probably his chauffeur in his limousine. But if Shad Khan's drinking, all the rest of us need to be drinking too. Well, and folks,
well, hold on. We don't know that he's drinking. We got to make sure we stipulate that. We don't know anything about his personal habits.
I don't think a human being can't live without drinking some type of liquid for sustenance. So he's drinking. We know he's drinking. Well, question is, what's he drinking? I'll tell you what he ought to be drinking. Fine wines from First Leaf. That's what he ought to be drinking. Because the summer is almost over, but now we're going to be doing the barbecues in the fall and the family vacations and camping trips and things like that. If you're going to be around your family, you need some wine, folks. And I'll tell you what, we got our box of First Leaf. Stace, of course, is the resident wine expert. She picked everything out. And I got to tell you, by the time she finished picking out this whole case of wine and then drinking them one after the other, she was up on the roof in a ballet skirt doing a pirouette with Harley Quinn on her head. Now, you will love the wines. What now?
You will love the wines in a responsible and traditional manner. Now, I have not heard any other tales of this, so I think this may be a hyperbolic tale. There were no dances on the roof.
No, she wasn't wearing the hyperbolic tail. We got that for the Halloween costume. But to get started with First Leaf, folks, because it's a monthly wine type delivery of things. And to get started, all you got to do is answer some quick questions about your likes and dislikes right on their website. And for example, they'll ask you things about what you like to eat and drink and what your social security number is, what your parents' names were, and different passcodes that you might have. And then their expert team will select a customized assortment of world-class wines based on your preference. And your personalized wine shipments are delivered right to your door or potentially your window, whichever orifice of your home that you would like to.
Your door, your front door.
Let's say the door is stuck or the door is locked and you need a drink bad. Just set it outside the window. I'll get it.
That's not the way it happens. Wherever your mailbox be, that's where you will find the nice box with all this custom wine.
My mailbox is on the street, but they brought my box of wine all the way to the house because you don't want to leave a box of wine sitting on the street. It'll go bad. Right. So they'll bring it right to you.
They'll bring it to your house. They're not going to just walk around your house and bring it to a window that you're waiting at.
Well, why not? If you're waving out the window going, hey, bring it over here. They can just hand it right through to you.
I guess technically if you're there waving, you stick your head out the window, hey, I'm over here. They could just get you in a box that way, but...
It might be that way. I'm saving them a little bit of a walk. All the way to the front door when there's a perfectly good window. Anyway, folks, they're delivered to you so you can kick back and enjoy bottles that you'll love all summer long. As a matter of fact, you'll love the wine inside them as well as the collector's bottles. And they're all priced lower than what you'd pay at a wine store, otherwise known as a liquor store. Plus, every selection is backed by First Leaf's 100% satisfaction guarantee, which is that you'll be 100% satisfied.
Satisfied. They guarantee
that.
That's right.
That's pretty much it right there.
That's it.
There's nothing you can do about it if you're not. Try to fucking complain with these people and see how far you get, but you won't be complaining because you're going to be drunk off your ass. You're
going to be happy. You're going to be happy.
You're going to be happy and peppy and bursting with love. With First Leaf, just right now. Do this. What are you laughing about? Do this before you forget about it. Go to try, T-R-Y, First Leaf, as in the first leaf. It's about to come down because it's almost fall. Tryfirstleaf.com/JCE to sign up. You're going to get your first 6 hand-curated bottles of wine for just $44.95. Now, rounding that off to $45 and figuring that there's 6 of them and doing the 1 goes into 2 and the 2 goes into 4, well, that's nigh on to less than $8 a bottle. Tryfirstleaf.com/JCE. TRYFIRSTLEAF.com/JCE. To get your first 6 bottles. JCE. Tryfirstleaf.com/JCE is what I'm trying to say. Try them and like them.
We've been trying them all show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, that's the problem here.
Well, what are we going to do to solve this problem?
Is this my program
this is
or your program? Shit, well, what are you doing on your programs this week?
Oh, man, you know what? I don't even know what day this is, and there's been so much going on. Go through the archives of everything. Of course, on Twitter at Superpodcast or on Facebook at facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. And the wrestling news every single day. Get the wrestling news right to you, your free daily wrestling newscast. Find out everything that is happening in the world of wrestling for free directly from thewrestlingnews.com or wherever you find your favorite podcast. Look for Arcadian Vanguard's The Wrestling News. Of course, check out Shut Up and Wrestle with Brian Solomon, SUAWpod.com, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. And Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam, McAdamPod.com. Once again, wherever you find your favorite podcasts and all the other fine shows. And of course, the 605 Superpodcast, The Mothership! Go through the archive at 605pod.com, available wherever you find your favorite podcasts. The Mothership.